And thank you for that lovely introduction. I didn't understand a word of it, but yes. We are going to spend an hour now talking about visuals, illustrations, graphic design. Wow, that's just the best. I have been a graphic designer now for a lot of years, and I have to say that artificial intelligence, AI, is the most interesting thing that has come along for at least the last, 10 or 20 years. It is the same thing as when computers arrived, or maybe even bigger. We don't know yet. How many of you have tried AI for text or whatever? Most people have. Great. How many have produced images, illustrations? The same, okay. How many of you have used Midjourney, the one that I'm going to talk about the most? Not so many. Okay, great, yes. Most of you have, I hope, the same idea about how wild AI is going to influence our work, I guess. Because now suddenly it's not just you telling the computer to do this, now it actually answers back with lots of inspiration. So, it has already been estimated that at the internet now, more images are produced by AI than in ordinary, like photos and images, illustrations made by humans uploaded to the internet. The internet is going to be full of AI stuff very, very soon, if not already. As you can see here from Midjourney, they have such a community site where you can see every pictures that are produced, unless you pay premium to have your images hidden. If you don't do that, you have to share it with the world, which is a good idea in a way, also a bit annoying if you work at a big company. But they just keep on with new images all the time, every second, thousands of images are produced, and it just goes on and on and on. And as you can see, these images are not just sketches, initial drawings, they are actually finished artwork in a scale and an amount of we have never seen before. So much finished artwork produced. And of course, you also have to be skeptical about some of the quality, but as you could see there, a lot of that is really, really well produced. I have a background also in information graphics, and that is why I love diagrams. And this diagram in particular, I think is really important to understand. So we have an x-axis here, which tells you how much effort do you put into your work. And then we have the y-axis with how much value do you get out of it. And now it would be really, really nice if this was the case. You put in more and more effort and you get more and more value out of it. This is not how it has been for graphic design, at least not in my opinion. I think the curve has looked more like this. You go to art school, you learn a few rules, you learn a bit of software, and then you can produce stuff that no one else can, and they are willing to pay you. Premium, actually, sometimes. And you live in this area, and this is a really nice area to live in. A lot of small contractors, they can just, can you please draw an illustration? Yes, I can. And then you send them a bill and you have made, I don't know how much money, but at least enough because you didn't put too much effort into it. And this might be the case why AI has hit our work so hard, because there's a lot of easy money here. Not too much effort and a lot of value. Because now we are looking at this. With AI, people also without any education in graphic design can actually produce stuff that looks almost finished. So if you live like down here, you are almost out of business. That's really bad. This is not how it's going to be. This is almost how it is today. I have spoken with a lot of illustrators that say they can feel that they are not getting the same amount of calls anymore. They are not getting the same amount of assignments as they're used to. And this is not only for graphic design. I can think of a lot of other businesses that have the same idea, that you only put in a little effort, but you sell it for a lot. Journalism could be another one. You write a quick text, and people think, wow, really well written. How much do you pay? Do I have to pay for that? And now they are hit as well. Some even say that the text producers are hit more than the illustrators. So we are going to talk about today. This was the quick intro, and then I will show you some more examples, and I will tell you a bit about how the stuff actually works. Even if some of you, a lot of you actually have tried it, maybe you know, could get a bit more technical understanding. It's a short one, it's an explainer. Then we have a short discussion about other stuff we could look at from graphic design perspective. And then we will have also quick, it is mostly a quick version of a workshop, this one, from a toolbox of what are the tools we are going to need to master. And then we end with a quiz, where you have to get 5 correct answers out of 10 to pass this session. So pay attention. So like I said, the AI is already in use. This is an example from Copenhagen, where the Marketing Communication Bureau, they wanted to advertise gambling, and they did so with this huge poster. And what they did was producing these images, and what this says here in Danish, imagine that you wake up with a big house with a sea view. And they did it extra that they put in lights behind the windows, so it lighted up in the evening. And it made a huge impression because it's in the most trafficked area of Copenhagen. So everyone noticed this house and thought, wow, this looks really nice. And then they said, we have produced it entirely with AI. There were some people then that said, then we don't like it, because otherwise we thought it was good, but now we don't like it. Also, another building that tried to attract people is the church. I know this guy who produced this huge poster also about Easter gives hope. So he didn't find any stock photo he wanted to pay for, or he didn't like it, so he produced it with AI. All these kind of I need a picture assignments, but I don't want to pay anyone for doing it. They will be taken over by AI, I think. For social media, I have seen, we have a museum in Denmark that have a dinosaur exhibition. And I think we should give them points for trying, because I like the idea of, okay, jump into it. It's AI, but it's clearly made by beginners, I think. I'm not even sure that it's the T-Rex that's the most scary part of it. Look at these. Those are scary children, that's for sure. But of course, they have learned something, and then they will make better social media posts the next time. Also generating some discussion in Denmark was this one from an organization who fights violence against children. And they produced this poster saying, okay, he could just speak nicely, then he wouldn't get beat up. And then they produced this image, and they didn't say it was AI. So people were wondering, is this an actual guy, a boy who had a beat up? Probably not. Is it made with special effect makeup? Probably it is. Or is it an AI that some people suggested? And it took a week or so before the organization came out and said, okay, it is AI. And we said, why didn't you mark it? Why did you put a mark and say it is generated with AI? And they said, we intended to do that, but it fell off in the printer. So I'm not sure I believe that story. But the next version of the posters, now they have a big sign here saying generated with AI. Because people giving donations to this organization, they were kind of frustrated about it and thought, are you lying to us? If this boy doesn't exist, why do you show an image of him? Do you think this is okay? Hand of who thinks it's okay? And who thinks it's the wrong way to do it? If you talk with photographers, they absolutely hate it. And I'm not sure. Initially, I thought it was okay, but more and more, I'm starting to get convinced, and I am now in the gray area. So sometimes I think it's okay, and sometimes I'm not really sure, because it could be the first step in a way we don't want to go. Last Friday, a major newspaper in Denmark, they published this story. And this was a huge mistake by them because they used this picture. And if, I don't know, their photo editor, he must be blind or something, because he never realized that something wrong with this picture. Because I think it's clearly made by AI. You see a guy sitting in the water, his leg is disappearing into the boat, and his fingers are weird. What is going on there? I don't know. But they didn't realize it until too late when they opened up the newspaper and people were starting calling them up and say, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And they say, oh, it's a mistake. But they didn't. They said they bought it from Adobe stock, which is crazy because it's clearly say in the headline there, generative AI, and it's also marked with the generated with AI. But still, they managed to overlook this. It's a big mistake, and I think that we can agree that, I don't know, but I think we can, that newspapers should stay away from trying to use AI for replacement of photos. I heard a journalist say that it was nice if they, for instance, went to Ukraine and the soldiers didn't want to show their face to the story, then they could just generate fake Ukrainian soldiers to go along with the images. And you should see all the other journalists would say, are you crazy? This will be the downfall, if not for anything else. The newspapers are going down anyway, but it will go even faster if they start doing this. This was a huge mistake, and they said sorry, and it will never do it again. But of course, mistakes will happen. So how does it actually work? And most of you then know, so I will be a bit fast there. So you write a prompt. And some graphic artists, they have a hard time doing that because they say, but I'm a graphic artist. I'm supposed to draw, make images. I'm not supposed to write. Some of them have a hard time writing. They can't spell, they don't know the words, whatever. So they stayed away from words and went into graphic design. And now you have your editors coming and asking you, can you please write an image for me? Like, I want a Danish Instagram model, whatever. And it's just a very weird process of writing stuff to get images instead of constructing them. This is the prompt, and for those of you who hasn't tried it, it is just some arbitrary text of what you try to describe as detailed as you can to the computer what you want to see. So the result from that could be like this. And then you wonder, where did that horse come from? And that is actually what I like the most about AI, that it gives you surprises. Because I asked for an Instagram model, and I got the Instagram model there. It was a Danish one, as you can see. She wears woolen sweaters, just like you do in Iceland. She has light hair, white skin, blue eyes, red mouth, and looks very pretty. So she must be a Danish woman, right? In fact, she is so pretty that is a bit distracting because the AI are trying to make everything beautiful, and they do that on purpose because then more people will generate images which generates beautiful stuff, also beautiful people. So now we have three kinds of people. We have the ordinary people like me, and then we have the very handsome people that go into stock photos or modeling, and then we have the AI people, entirely made up, but more beautiful than anything else. The bad thing about beautiful and symmetry, as graphic designers know, is that even if it is nice to look at, it is also very boring. Very fast, you will get bored with these people looking like this all the time. Let's try to change the model out and explicitly say I want a male model, because if you just write a model, it will almost every time be a woman. But now I ask for a male model. Okay. And you see again, he doesn't have a horse, but he has a boat or whatever, and living in a very expensive part of Copenhagen with access to seawater, and he's just so polished. Again, this is the default human being inside the AI. And we need to go away from that, because otherwise, everyone can do this, but not everyone can make it do something else. So that is one thing I think we should, as graphic designers, be really aware. How do you get away from the default, because default is boring and everyone can do it. So you will live in this area there in the diagram where no one wants to pay you for these images. I went to India because I work at the university, and we have a connection with some of the Indian universities, and they wanted that I teach some of their faculty. So they tried it as well. But they got tired because every time they just wrote something, they got white people. So they have to write explicitly Indian. So they had to do that. But then it works. They know, the AI knows a lot of Indian people and will produce it, but you have to write it out. Otherwise you won't get it. And you see again, very, very beautiful. No doubt about that. Maybe too much again. And again, the Indian male model. He looked like this. Whoa. And the Indians were, oh yes, he's stronger than the Danish guy, yes. And he also has an animal, and that's a white hawk, which is some kind of a powerful symbol in India, I think. Again, this is a default person. And even if it looks really impressive, you get tired of looking at these default persons. So can you do ugly persons? That's an experiment we could do. So I try and ask the AI then, I want an ugly woman and an ugly man. How do they look? And one of the results I got, and most of them look like this, was something like this. It doesn't want to do ugly. It translates ugly into, ugly, you mean old and poor. That's probably, they are ugly. They are the lowest of the community because they're old and poor. And they don't even look that ugly. They look like actors in a musical or theater or something. And of course the Indians, they want to try that as well, so they also tried an ugly Indian woman, and I don't know, they live hard lives. Maybe they go to get ugly. But the result? All the Indians said, oh, I wish my parents looked like that. Then it would be so nice visiting them. Okay. So you see, again, there is no ugliness there. And of course, now traveling around, we should try it with Iceland also. So how does the Icelandic Instagram model look like? And this is brand new because the other one was from the version 6.0, and this is now the latest version. I made it just last week. So this is the Icelandic Instagram model. Whoa. She got a horse also. Denmark and Iceland is connected. Great. Very, very intense looking. And you can see it recognizes Iceland. Doesn't it look like an Iceland a bit? Maybe a bit Norwegian also, I'm not sure. But it will pass as an Icelandic model, I guess. I don't know why the horse is looking away. Because you have beautiful horses, don't you? Oh. Okay. So let's go for the male model also. And he came out like this. Oh. He doesn't have an animal. He wears the animal. So, I don't know. Yes, he's an angry guy. And then we try the ugly Icelandic. Maybe you are better with the ugliness. So what happens here is, maybe they're dangerous, but I don't think they are ugly. But they are, yeah. They look different though from the other. So maybe Icelandic is a secret word if you want to get some danger in your images. I don't know. Well, then the time for the explainer part. So let's, and I make it short because so many of you have already tried it, but this technique is quite new actually. The entire field of science comes back from just 10 or 11 years ago. Why, this was the best thing you could get a computer 11 years ago if you asked it, can you please draw a human portrait? This was what made scientists think, okay, we have a new area of science here because we can clearly get the computer to draw what we ask. And they are really, really bad, of course. So just in 10 years' time, or a bit later, we have come to where we are today. So it is rising really, really fast. 5 years ago, there was this painting. the first AI-produced actual painting, printed on a canvas and sold at an art auction. Do you think they could sell it? They could. So what would you buy? What would you pay for this image? How much do you think they sold it for? Any quick offers? Just shout out a number. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong.
1,000 euros.
1,000 euros? Yes, that they actually got $500,000. So that was extremely well paid, and they didn't understand it. Of course, it was nice for the scientists, so they could have parties and whatever. I don't know. Since then, the price on AI-generated material has unfortunately fallen dramatically. Because of course it would be nice if we could sell stuff like that for $400,000. We can't. So how does it work? Okay, the model goes out. It takes every picture it can find on the internet, every picture. Also behind login walls, behind stuff that it shouldn't really have access to. They try to take it in because they say we are doing science, so we're doing it even if we don't have the copyright. That's a bit of a problem now, but at that time it wasn't. Then it was just science. And then they say, okay, this is a car, and they find all the words that go with this image, and then they add noise. This is a part of the diffusion process, the diffusion which we are running the AI on now. So noise is added to the image, and then you ask the computer, please take away the noise again. And then they do that, and then you keep doing it until you end up with this. 100% noise. And then you say to the computer, can you please remove the noise and restore the car? And it can. And then it says, okay, great, next picture. Then it had learned that image. And then it doesn't store that image, it throws it away. And so it takes like 5 billion images and stores it into a very small model, only 4 gigabytes in size. And there's no pixels in there, there's only mathematics in 100 different dimensions. It doesn't make sense in my head, but this is how it works. All the numbers are talking to each other, and even the people that have made this model, they don't entirely know how it works. They only know the first steps, but then it goes into a black box, and then they look at the images and think, okay, we can use that because we like the result. These noise images are what produces every AI image made. And there are a lot of different noise images. We can't see difference with our eyes, but for the machine, there's a big difference to them. And there are 10 digits. So this is, for instance, this number of noise. And all these are randomly generated, and there are then billions of different noise images. And that means that for every word, every prompt, every misspelled word we write, there will be billions of results. So if you say, I wrote this prompt, I got this result, you should always be aware that I only got one result out of billions. It could have been entirely different if the noise starting had been something else. And then you write it. I ask it for like this, the car we saw before, the Chevrolet. And then it starts, okay, it makes 4 different noise images because Midjourney always replies your prompts with 4 images. And then it starts working, and like I said, no one really knows how it works. But these pixels start to talk with each other and say, okay, I'm this color, and what color are you? And then they end up eventually going in the direction, because of the mathematics, that they will show whatever word you ask for, because it has learned them. Just like a human being going to an art museum and looking at all pictures and go home and stuff. Okay, lady in a wood. Okay, and then you can draw whatever comes from your memory. It tries to do the same. And then it will end up like this. And it looks really good, especially if you don't know too much about cars. This is a problem with AI, and you cannot get the exact details right, because as you have seen, it has been trained on every image it could find, so it will always be some kind of median of the concept car, of the concept Chevrolet, of the concept green. So if you know the car model, if you're a car nerd, you will probably say, oh, these headlights are wrong, or this side light, or whatever. Small details will always be wrong in an AI image. So don't use AI for doing these jobs. We already have that. We already have that technology. We call it photography, right? When you go out there, it exists, you take an image, and you go home, you beam. Or if you don't have access to that, you can make a 3D model where you can control every small detail. AI, in this way it works right now, is not supposed to create what exists in this world. But it is excellent of creating what that doesn't exist. So instead of asking for this model, I should say, can you please take this Chevrolet Corvette 69 and put it into 2050? Put it into the future. What would this car model look like in the future? And then I got this result. And this is interesting because then it starts like thinking and helping me realizing some stuff that I maybe not had the imagination to do myself. And also because it does these billions of different images. I could run the exact same prompt and say, try again, and then I would get this result. And this is inspiring because, of course, yes, the same car model in the future, maybe it has been changed into something sci-fi, or maybe it has been forgotten about and standing in the barn for 20 years, almost disappearing. This is the way AI should be used, not for doing all the other ordinary graphic stuff. Then we move into the discussion part where we can see, okay, what is it you should be aware when you work with AI? So let's say I write the word judge. If I run the default, I get a result like this. And this is fine in a way, but is it really helping me out here? I'm not sure. I'm not getting particularly inspired by looking at these images. I'm more getting annoyed with all these American flags, which is annoying for a European or Danish guy because our judges doesn't look like that at all. So it's crazy. And if you were in England, you would probably miss the wigs, all the crazy stuff they put on their head. So this is not really, I think, this is not so interesting. It's a way to generate stock photos, but we already have so many. So maybe we shouldn't just create these almost lifelike images. When I teach the students, I say, can you try to make something original? Try to work with AI instead of asking it to do what you don't really, some kind of lazy stuff. Try to get inspired, try to challenge the AI to produce something that you wouldn't think of. And in Midjourney, you do that by adding chaos and weirdness. This is two commands that you can put in after your prompts, but most people don't know about them, so they just write the default. But for a graphic designer student, you absolutely have to know about these commands, and there are more of them, but these two are the most important. Because you can also, if you don't want to write chaos, you can just write C and W. And they will produce entirely different images then. I then ran the word judge like this, and then I got these results. You see, this is something that I can look at for a long time, something I don't understand. I don't know what this is. I don't actually know why they are called from judge, but I think it's much more interesting to look at and be inspired of. And then again, maybe it just fit my work, just what I was looking for, or maybe it doesn't, but I got inspired and thought, okay, now I know how to do something myself. So I do use it more like an inspirational tool than an actually producer here. And I ran it again, and then I got this. You see, the amount of, the wide amount of possible solutions are immense, much more than any human being, because how come that this is a judge? I don't know. This is a judge. This is a 70 movies. It's just really, really, you can create 10 or 20 or maybe 50 of these prompts and just look at all the results. And among all these 200 results, there will be one of them that's just like, this is it. Wow, this is really, really good. This is what I want the students at graphic design, at least, to challenge the AI to don't just produce the ordinary stuff. then it would be nice maybe us also to teach the students and ourselves, of course, to stay on the ethical side. So let's return to this one, this ad here. Like I said, I'm still in the gray zone here, but if I move it a bit out where I'm not in the gray zone, I'm totally in the black zone, is some AI I have seen running at TikTok where you use AI to produce images like this. So they make sweet looking children that have and take known criminal cases, and then they write a story with ChatGPT from the files in the case, and an entirely fictional story in a way, and then they use also AI voice to read these stories, and it is really heartbreaking, and in a way it is also mind-breaking that you can actually get people to produce something like this. I think it's disgusting, but try to have a look at this one.
My parents played a game with me who could throw me so high up in the air that I'd hit the ceiling, and then let me fall to the floor as hard as possible would win. Hello, I am Brianna Lopez. I was born on the 14th of February 2002. I would tell you about my upbringing, but all 153 days of my little life were spent in...
Oh, sorry. But as you can see, she said she was 150 days old when she was killed by her parents. And it is, of course, really, really tragic what has happened. But then making stuff like that, she's not 150 days old. She's 3 years old or something, and she can even speak. And it is, like you see, better. I think it's just the most disgusting I have probably ever seen. And this is something that I think, okay, maybe if we could kind of say, okay, graphic designers, we could have a stamp or a license or an oath that we are not using AI for bad, we are using it for okay stuff. Good maybe just okay, I don't know. Is selling and getting people to gambling and go to church, are that good? I don't know. But at least it's what is accepted. And then we could leave all the shitty stuff to all the unlicensed people. I think that could, again, bring some value. So you can say, I'm not living in this area, I'm actually here. I have some control of my work. And maybe if you are a big company or a government, you will only go with these licensed people to create your AI stuff. That could be one way, because there will be a lot of stuff here coming out. This is an image I made 2 years ago, 1 year and a half maybe. As you can see, Trump and Biden fighting. Even if it's, I don't know, older people like myself say, it looks more like Gerald Ford, but I don't know. And you see also the hands, because it's an early model, because right now you cannot do this anymore. Because of the upcoming election in the US, they have completely banned everything political from most AI services. So if I try to write anything like Trump and Biden fighting, I would instantly get banned. I tried, of course, and then I get something, and I only asked it, portrait of Joe Biden, and then I got not safe for work. Okay, and I was blocked for 4 minutes, so I could learn it. Sometimes they block you instantly, sometimes they say, okay, you got a warning, if you do it again, you get the 4-minute block, but they have no tolerance and they will make absolutely nothing of the US election. Because they are scared they will be shut down, or they are scared their service will be used for bad, which it probably will. So maybe this is the right thing, but it's just so annoying if you're not using it for bad. Man, that's how it is. And that's probably, we will see more and more of that. To start with, it was only President Xi of China you couldn't do anything funny with. But all the Western leaders was okay. But now the US is the worst. Okay, so what are the tools? And this is now, I'm going to show you a selection of tools. So I'm not going to show you how they work, because that would be overwhelming. So you will just see the logos, and then you will remember, because I have seen a lot of AI tools. So maybe if you see some of them and you say, okay, Gert, he said this was okay, then you know, okay, maybe you can try it and see if you like it as much as I do. So the new toolbox, this is Midjourney. This is the one that we have been seeing most so far. And you saw the images from that. And then we have OpenAI, which produces ChatGPT, and also DALL-E. DALL-E is inside ChatGPT, and it's good for doing especially drawings and icons, but it's bad for photos. And then we have Firefly, Adobe's version of AI. And they say they are more ethically trained than the other models because they only train on their own stock photos. But unfortunately, it has been shown that they also train on AI-generated material. So then we have kind of a loop going around. So it's not as correct as they wanted to. But still, I think Adobe is a really good contender, also because most graphic artists already have the license to use the Adobe products. And they will, of course, go a long way to keep graphic artists in their business. A small one is called Crea. It has a special ability that you just give it a sketch and it finishes up the drawing in whatever style you ask it for. It's really interesting to play with, more like a plaything, I think. Leonardo, for one reason, it can make images on transparent background. I think that's just wonderful. And they are really working hard to get into the business also. So this is one you should probably keep an eye on. Then we have Magnifique, which is really good of enlarging stuff. If you want to make the really big poster with 10,000 of pixels in each direction, you should put it into an AI enlarger. And the reason I think this is really good is because it invents all the details. It really is like in the sci-fi movie or in the criminal movie where the criminal or the policeman comes to and say enhance and enhance and enhance. It keeps on adding detail. Not from the real world, of course, from the AI world, but it really looks extremely interesting. Gigapixel is kind of the same, but it doesn't invent so much, but it makes everything really sharp. Then we have Runway, which try to be the go-to solution for video stuff, but they have kind of slowed down, and there's this new tool coming up called Sora. I don't know if you have heard about that. It's made by OpenAI, and it's so powerful that they don't dare release it. So I don't think we will see it on this side of the US election because it's really set up to do fake videos really, really nice. And that might put this out of business if it ever gets released. And you could easily look for Sora video and you will get a lot of nice examples. And the last one is not really visual, but it's just the most fun AI I have played with in the last month. It's called Udio, and it makes songs. You write a text, and it creates a melody with song, with whatever. And I created a lot of songs about going to Iceland and speak at a conference. And it wrote the text and said, I'm going up to the northern light, Aurora. And it was so funny. And if I had time, I could show some of them for you. But these 9 are really worth exploring if you are into it. And maybe you don't remember the names, but you are visual people, so you will remember the logos, right? All this is a completely new toolbox for the graphic artist. And also we need to do new stuff. We need to know a lot of words. Here I have asked for this word followed by the word portrait. And then I get all these different examples. And it just keeps on with a lot of words. So I think in a perfect world, you would probably know 50 to 100 words that you have in your back head, that you know that when I'm writing for stuff, I can just, this style, this style, this style, this style. This is something you should know as a graphic designer, which is something that the ordinary people, they won't. They don't know all these words, so they can't produce these results. I used the ChatGPT to make a GPT. You can create your own. And this is also a new business model for graphic artists. Or maybe not something you make a lot of money on, but at least for in-house graphic artists, when my colleagues come and ask for an icon, for instance, I can now say to them, please use this top icon generator. I have created it inside ChatGPT. So I have described what I want icons to look like in this style and isotype and drawn by Gert K and all this kind of stuff that only graphic artists know. So this helps in defining really clear icons. And I say some of these icons are better than the ones I would produce. If you want to try it, you can try it out. I have made it publicly available. It's there. Yeah, and then I'll show you afterwards what it can do. Or we can take that afterwards also. It's quite fun. I asked it for maybe, can you make an icon of a cute dog? And it should be of the beagle race. And this was the result. And see, this icon is at least as good as one I should have drawn of that dog. And I said, okay, maybe it was just a logger stroke. And then I asked, okay, can you make a cute dog and make it a terrier then? And then I got this one. And don't you agree that these icons are at least as good as the one you can buy on stock photo? And they will be, because I made more of them, and now I have uploaded it to Adobe Stock Photo, and I can see. And now it will train on these images that I produced with the help of AI and create icons in their own model. So it's kind of looping all together. I also asked for an image of a car, an old convertible, and I got this icon. And all the details here are just, I think it's excellent. And it's very easy for graphic artists. Take it in your Illustrator and vectorize it, and you have a really good icon. And like I said before, the tool called Crea, I gave it this icon because this is a tool that excels in creating finished stuff out of simple artwork. So I said, okay, make it into an old car, and then I got this one. And then it was enhanced in Magnifique to get all the details correct. But you see, this is something that I could never produce by myself. Not even if I worked for a year, I couldn't draw something like that. I don't have the skill, but now suddenly I have the skill to make something that people have said, oh wow, I would like that to be on my wall, which is a weird thing. So, what that means is that we should probably revisit this a bit and say, okay, I'm living here, but what is going to happen? Maybe AI is not out to kill us all. Maybe it is actually going to say that if you use AI, you can bring yourself in here because you, as a graphic artist, will know the stuff that will take you away from default or into the stuff that other people cannot do. And then if that happens, and I think it will, then it will just show us that AI is, in fact, just another tool, even though a very, very powerful one. But I'm sure there will be a new AI coming up, maybe an AI agent or general agent, and then it will come with another red one, and then everything will crash again, and we will get into that cycle. But we have done so before. It's the same, like every technology has killed a lot of work and then created something new. Well, now we end with the quiz. So there will be 10 images. And your job is to look at the image and then say, is this a real image or is it an AI-generated one? The AI or real quiz, wow. And we do it like you just raise your hand if you think this is AI or not. And we can start with this. Is this AI or not? It's clearly AI, right? Everyone can probably see something is wrong. Okay, so this was just a rehearsal one. So now comes the real one. 10 images, and the first one will be this one. This lovely lady, happy, lovely lady. Is she really a living person, or is she a generated person? Who thinks this is an AI? Who thinks she is for real? Most people in this room go for real, and the answer is ta-da, real. Yes. Again, AI has a hard time with people who are who weighs more than the normal. For some reason, if you ask for a plus size or something, you will get really, really big people. Not like she's kind of like inside the normal area, but this is hard for AI to do. 1 point. Whoa, like I said, I worked at the University for Health and Medical Sciences, so maybe I went down in the cellar and took a photo, or maybe I just went to my computer and asked AI to do it. Do you think this guy, man, whatever, is he a real person or is he an AI? Who thinks it's AI? Who thinks it's for real? AI is the right answer. Yes, great, good. You are 2 points out of 2. Looking good. In Denmark, we sometimes have thunderstorms. And people send in their images to the television stations saying, look at this image I caught of a lightning. Is this one of these pictures or is it just created in AI? What do you think? Who think it's an AI thunderstorm? Who think it's a real? Most people go for AI, and it is AI. Oh, you're good. Iceland is good for this one. Then we have this Chinese art school. Whoa, that looks like they learn a lot. But is it for real, or is it just a prompt that has put all these young people together? Who think it's an AI image? Who think it's a real image? Most people actually say real. That was good. Oh, it was good. It's a real one. I don't know what it must be crazy to teach a class like this. Everyone take their, and now they will have to change because they are not needed anymore. Or like someone in another course said, it's probably the guys that make all the AIs. They're just sitting there. Yeah. 4 out of 4, looking good. Now we have this bird. Yeah. What do you think? Who thinks this is an AI bird? Who thinks it's a real bird? Most people go for AI, which I can understand, because in a way these pupils looks a bit not circular. This is something you should really look at. If you're looking at people, if they have non-circular pupils, that's probably an AI image. But the answer is real. Because this photographer, he likes to take animals into his studio, set light, and that's why it's so sharp and everything. His name is Tim Flack, and he does excellent images of animals. And you can actually prompt with his name, so you can say, I want like a bird photographed by Tim Flack, and then it will look not like this bird, but it will look in his style really, really good, because he's a known author to the AI. 4. Then we have this woman with her Windows computer standing. Who thinks this is an AI image? All the people in the back think, and who think it's a real image? Most people in the front. Okay, so maybe you can see some details that the other ones can't, and I think it's because it is real. It is real. So, which is weird because I think this looks like an AI hand, really much, but it isn't. It's a real image. I give you a half for that one. 4.5. Okay, we are getting there. From the hospital, again, is he a real person? Who think he's an AI? Who think he's real? Most people say AI, sorry. And the answer is AI. Another win for you. Maybe this arm is a bit weird, isn't it? Long, but okay, you don't know. Maybe that's why he was admitted at the hospital. Yeah. And he clearly said, can I have a small cup of coffee? Yes, you can. Really small. So, yeah, it's AI. Then we have this one. Difficult one. So, yeah. Who thinks it's an AI? Who thinks it's real? Almost in the entire room say it's real, and it could be because, but it's not. No, but it could be. If you should say something about it, maybe you should look at this, because it looks too weird for typography, really. Unless it was a certain style, of course, you'd never know. So, yeah, but it was AI. 4.5. 5.5. Sorry, you have already graduated. This trend here, where men like to find statues, I don't know if you have heard of that trend. Find a statue that looks like yourself, and then you pose next to it. That's a trend on the social media. And I think it's really funny, but maybe it's not real. I don't know. Not yet. What do you think? Is this AI? Is this real? Oh, I cannot really say. AI again? AI. Most people go for AI now, and that's a good thing because it is AI. And the prompt really is man standing next to a statue of himself. I made an entire series of this, and it's really, really interesting how the AI produces different kind of statues. Some are metal, some are all kind of materials. And then all kind of men next to them. It's really interesting. And I tried it with women also. It's a prompt I would suggest you try and play out. And then we have the last one. You got that right. So now you have 6.5. This one. Yes. Who think it's an AI? Who think it's real? Most people go for AI, which is the same as, because this was entered in a photo competition and the judges saw this image and wrote an angry letter to the photographer and said, you are disqualified, you should never ever enter in our competitions again because you are such a bad person. The bad thing was, it was real. Ah, damn. The judges was just, but how? And it turned out these are mannequins. And I don't know, it was in Australia, it was supposed to show something about urban life for young people in Australia, I don't know why, but he got disqualified on false premises, which was a shame. But I understand the judges, because as you can see, it is really, really hard to distinguish between AI and real. So much so that I say that you cannot reliably do it more than 50% of the times, which kind of is a toss-up. It is almost impossible. Except that ugly example from the newspaper, of course, which was clearly AI, which I don't understand. So, but well done. You got the 7.5 points. I think that the half point makes you the winner overall I have ever tried this quiz. So, really nice job. That will conclude this. Are there any questions you would like? Yes?
Does the AI have a concept of normal? Could you put in like normal people, and what do they do?
And normal?
Just say normal people.
It will make these beautiful people again, that's for sure. Yeah, normal is very beautiful. But what you can do if you start going into Midjourney is you can ask it to take away its secret source, because it actually pours out beautiful source on every picture. And you can write this code saying --S0, and then it will stop doing this. And then will make more normal people. Style for stylize, so don't stylize it. And you can also write, if you are in Midjourney, --style, and then raw, and then it will make even more photorealistic images. But you have to know these codes or learn them, otherwise you will get these default plastic people.
Where can you learn them?
You can get into YouTube, Facebook groups, courses, of course, if you can find some. I don't know. You probably have some. In my opinion, experience, it doesn't look like there's a shortage of AI experts. There's a lot of them, thousands. I have created a group for AI people in Denmark, and there was someone asking for an AI expert, and it was just hilarious how many people said, I'm an expert. Everyone, I'm not an expert. I don't think so, because I'm more of a user of it. So. But I study it, so half expert maybe. You hadn't.
If one gets one picture, is the chance that someone else gets the same picture?
This is almost impossible, I would say, because there are like these billions to choose from, even if you have the exact same wording. And also because they change every time they change the model, it will change again. And even if you run on one computer, or if you run on a server in the US or run in Europe, it might get different results. So it is almost impossible. But you could get results that are almost the same. So it would take really, really sharp eye to look at the differences. So you still have this problem. Do I have copyright for this image or not? And this has not been decided. Right now, we are in a gray zone. So it's like you can use it, and you can sell it, and you can do whatever you want, but it will be really tough to tell other people that they can't use your work if it's created entirely by AI. Another reason for a graphic artist taking it into Photoshop, brushing it up, making a small change, and then it's your own picture. You had a question?
Yeah. I'm thinking about the possible changes of AI on the pre-press and the printing.
Yeah.
Can you foresee like the same effect as on designers in that area?
Again,
it has more possibilities.
Yeah, again, as soon as you have this curve there, where you put in little effort and then you get a lot of value, then you just have all this money-grabbing techno people coming and say, we want to automate it into making all the decisions by itself. And now you can actually do it. When I went to art school, I wrote a program that put how you should put the printing plates on the most efficient use. But back then it was hilarious stupid. But it worked in a way. I used it for my exam. That was okay. But today I think you could actually do it production-wise, so you don't have all these clever people in the print press doing all the clever stuff they do, because AI know how to do it, and they will learn. Because they can be taught, they have been taught now how to make images, but back in my university, the doctors are using it for, like you know, for brain scans, for heart scans. Everything they do, they can learn it and they can see the patterns. It's very important to know, though, that in machine learning will always go the shortest way. We had some detecting in the lung cancer from images, and it turned out it was really, really good, much better than the doctors. But then it turned out that that when they gave them the images, it's set on the site where the hospital and where the place in the hospital they were put. So when they put in the lung cancer, of course, then it could see that, and it read that, and it read, okay, doesn't matter the image. I just read some text alongside the image, and then that was why it was so good at it. So it will always try to cheat it into making a very easy pattern. And so that, again, for the time being, I cannot see AI working on its own. We still need human intervention.
But what does it mean for education?
For education.
Press and design.
Yeah, I would really like to see the graphic artists taking like a doctor's oath and saying we will only use AI for what is good or acceptable, at least.
You have to agree with what's good then.
Yeah, but then acceptable, but or we will not do bad or whatever. Yeah, again, it's an ethical question, but the same it goes with doctors. They also take this oath, and you can say again what is really everyone decides on his own or her own. So I still think it would be really good that the students are aware that, do I want to do this, or should I say, no, this is not really good. So, yeah, maybe they could learn from their ethical teachers, if they exist, I hope. Okay. With that, we are finished, and I can see also with the time, it is very nice that we finish up. So thank you all, and for being such a wonderful audience, and for acing the quiz almost.